Here, let's implement the traversal operation on linear arrays using a C program. So, you can see the program written on the screen. So, first of all, you should understand what is meant by traversal. So, what is traversal? Traversal is an operation that is carried out on arrays, and the traversal means visiting every element in the array once. So, we have to visit every element in the array one by one, and here in this program we will try to display it on the screen while traversing. So, whenever we visit an element in the array, that element will be displayed on the screen. Then when next element is visited, it will be displayed on the screen. So, this process will be continued until we complete all the elements in the array. So, here we are performing traversal along with the display of the elements in the array. So, let us see how this is being performed. So, in order to perform traversal, first of all we require an array. So, we have to input the size of the array and also the elements in the array here. So, we are storing the array elements in the variable a, and the maximum size is defined here as 10. Now, you have to input the size of the array, that is the actual number of elements that we are going to store in the array is to be given here. So, in this scanf function, you can input the value of n, that is the size of the array. Now, according to the size given here, that is if we are using 5, then 5 elements are to be input. So, in order to input that many number of elements contained in the array, we should use a for loop, and inside that a scanf statement is to be included. So, when this loop executes, all the elements can be input into the array. Now, we have to perform the traversal operation on the array. That is, if the elements in the array are 5 and all the 5 elements are given as input to the array, then after that we have to visit every element in the array beginning from first element until we reach the last element. And as we visit each element, we will be displaying all that on the screen. So, we have to include a for loop here. We will start with the for loop. The for loop is initialized with I equal to 0. Then the condition will be tested, and if the condition is true, this printf statement will be executed. So, initially ith's value is set as 0. So, the first element will be accessed here, that is a of 0. A of 0 means we have given some values to the array. The first element in the array will be stored in or accessed using this particular variable a at I. A of 0 will be now the value accessed. So, we can get the first element. Then I will be incremented and i's value becomes 1. So, we can access the second element, that is a of 1. A of 1 will be the second element in the array that will be displayed here. Then this process will be continued until this condition is satisfied, that is I less than n is satisfied. So, after when this condition becomes false, you will be exiting from this loop and also exiting from the program. Okay. Now, let us see how this program executes and what will be the output of this program. So, first of all, you have to compile the program. Compilation is okay. Now, you can run the program. So, when running, we get a message that is enter the size of the array. So, here we have to input the size of the array. Let us input 5 as the size of the array. Now, you have to input all the 5 elements in the array. Whatever values you wish, you can give it. So, let me input 2, 6, 4, 1 and 8. So, I have input 5 different values. Now, the traversal operation should should be performed, and all the elements in the array is to be displayed here as the output. So first of all, the first element will be visited, that is 2, that is displayed on the screen. Now it will move to the second element. Then after that move to the third element, fourth element and fifth element, and all these elements while traversing will be displayed on the screen. So here you can see the output of this program. So every element in the array is displayed in order as it is visited. So this is what happens in traversal, and all the values are printed here on the screen. So this is meant by traversing and also printing the values in the array on the screen. Now traversal operation can be used to perform some other operation, some other uses. It can be used for some other purposes, and one of it is we can count the number of elements in the array, that is how many number of elements are there in the array. So in the previous example we have given 5 as the size of the array, that is the array will be storing 5 different values. So if you want to find how many elements are there in the array, you can count the values as the elements are traversed. So let's see how to implement the count, finding the count of the number of elements. So in order to find the number of elements present in the array, we need another variable that stores the count of the array. So let's take it as count, and this value is to be initialized with 0. Otherwise sometimes it may have some garbage values and we may not get the required output. So we have to initialize this variable with 0. Now the traversal is being performed in this particular for loop. So we have to include the statement to count the number of values also inside this loop. So as each elements are visited, it should be counted. So initially the count value is 0, and when one value is visited, when the first element is visited, the count should be incremented by 1. When next element is visited, the count value should be again incremented by 1. So this process should continue until we reach the last element in the array. So in order to count or increment the value of the count by 1, we have to include a statement, that is count plus plus, inside this for loop. Along with displaying the values or visiting the values, the count of the count variable, that is number of elements, is incremented by 1. Now after exiting from this for loop, the number of elements will be stored in the variable count. So in order to display it on the screen, we have to use a statement, that is using the printf function. Printf, we can display some message here. That is number of elements. Number of elements is equal to, and the value of count is stored in the variable count, and it is of integer type. Therefore we have to use the specifier as %d. Okay. Now let us see what will be the output of this program. Okay, sorry, we have encountered with one error. Here we have to include printf. Okay. Okay, now we enter the input of the, we'll input the size of the array, let's say 4. Now 4 elements are to be input. Okay, we have input the 4 elements in the array. Now we'll check what will be the output of this program. So the output is like this, that is all the array elements are displayed, and after that we have a statement, number of elements is equal to 4. So program, we have tried to count the number of elements in the array and also displayed it on the screen. This is how traversal operation can be used to count the number of elements in the array. Now we can use this operation, traversal operation, for one more purpose, that is in order to find the sum of all the elements in the array. So while traversing the elements, all the elements can be added together, and finally it can produce the total sum of the elements in the array. So for that, in order to store the sum of values, we can use another variable. Let us take it as s, and this variable should also be initialized with the value 0. Now inside this for loop, that is while traversing the array, we have to add up all the elements in the array. So let us include another statement in this for loop, that is s equal to s plus a at I. So this statement will add up all the elements in the array. So this works like this. Initially the value of s is 0. So when first element in the array is encountered, s value will be updated. That is, here we have written s plus a of I. This s plus a of I will be added together and it will be assigned to the variable s. Here s is 0, initially it will be 0, then a of I is the first element, and I equal to 0, a of 0 will be added to the value 0, that is first element plus 0. So we have first element as the sum here. When next time, in the second iteration of this loop, the second element will be displayed here, that is a of 1 will be displayed here. Now we will be adding a of 1 to s. So s will be already having first element as its value. Then we will add up the second element to the first value. So we will get the sum of two elements here, and it will be stored in the variable s. Again this process will be repeated until we complete all the elements in the array. And finally, after completion of this loop, you will get the total sum of elements in the variable s. So in order to see what will be the value stored in that variable, you have to display it on the screen. So in order to display the value in s, we have to use a printf statement. Here you can display the sum of all the elements in the array. Let us take sum is equal to %d, and the value will be contained in s. So by including this statement in the program, you can get the sum of all the elements in the array. So let us run this program and see the output. Okay, now let us input the size as 5 and let the elements be 1, 2, 4, 2 and 1. So we have given 5 different elements in the array. Now we'll see the output. So here the array is displayed as such, that is whatever elements are being input in the array, that elements are displayed on the screen 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. Then count of the array elements are next displayed on the screen, that is number of elements is equal to 5. Now we have performed the addition of all these elements, that is 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 4, 7, 7 plus 2, 9 and 9 plus 1, 10. Total sum is 10. It is displayed here, that is sum is equal to 10. So this is how you can use traversal operation to perform or to find the number of elements, to perform the sum of to find the sum of all the elements in the array, and also you can use this to display all the elements in the array. So these are the different uses of traversal. So that's it. Thank you.